Hello, good morning. Welcome back to Surprise Witness. I didn't upload yesterday, my bad, but I have some good news. I got a job interview and I'll be having a second one tomorrow. So, prayers, please. I could really use this role, right? But good morning. Good morning, everyone. And today's morning musing is about fire rituals. Now, the other day I had, just been browsing Instagram, and that guy that's running for office, what's his name? Raswamy Vivek. I'm not sure if I'm saying his name right, but he made a comment about how the NFL was rigged. And then he said something about, oh, just watch. The NFL is rigged. The Kansas Chiefs are going to win. And this is going to be the setup so that Taylor Swift can endorse President Biden. Now, we all know that entertainment is fake, right? But I don't think we realize to what degree of fakeness it is, because even though we already know it's fake, it's like even more fake than we think. And so I was thinking about this and I was like, I would not be surprised, right? Like I'm not surprised at all. But also, it's crazy the amount of influence that Taylor Swift has. Like, it's just crazy. Like, they literally have a name for her effect, the Swift effect, that anything she touches just starts to, make so much money because of how popular she is. And I mean, she has some great songs, there are people that argue that, she's weird or whatever. But the fact of the matter is that this person is so popular that she can affect economics, right? Like there was an article that went out that talked about how her tour alone, like, moved so much capital in the country that it was trackable, which I think is amazing, impressive. Wow, right? Um, that being said, they need someone that powerful to endorse President Biden, right? For reelection. Now, I'm not, I think politics is just as fake as everything else, right? I think that there are people that are in it and then they coordinate all their stuff and it's just fake. So, like, what does a vote really matter if either, you know, they track fake ballots, or they choose who the opposition is anyway, and the opposition always just so happens to have the same idea when it comes to other things, where people switch sides all the time, yada yada. Like, it's just fake. Everything is fake, right? But I was thinking about football. And then I was thinking about how in high school, right, we have homecoming, and then there's like a bonfire ritual, right? And everyone either runs around it or whatever. And I was like, man, that's so weird. How did that even get started? Right. And so I started doing research and I can't seem to figure out how it got started. Right. I mean, here is one example though. Now they said, let's see. Okay. The night between the 30th of April and the 1st of May was considered magical. The festival was probably originally celebrated when the moon was full, closest to the day exactly between the spring equinox and the summer solstice. People believed that on this night witches fly to their Sabbath, and indeed, this is one of the biggest pagan holidays. People also believe, for example, in the opening of various caves, treasures were hidden. The main purpose of this old folk custom was probably a celebration of fertility. To protect themselves against witches, people lit bonfires in high places, calling these fires burning the witches. Some people took to jumping over the fire to ensure youth and fertility. The ash from these fires supposedly had a special power to raise crops, and people also walked their cattle through the ashes to ensure fertility. Now, I'm not saying, a bonfire is connected to like some pagan nonsense, especially because, it says that it started off as a way to ward off witches or whatever. But what I am saying is the same thing I was saying 2 days ago about what do rituals mean when they don't really have meaning or whatever. Now, when you're a kid, right, you're like, oh, homecoming. Someone's going to ask me to a dance. We're going to dance. We're going to go watch a football game, and then we're going to watch a bonfire together, whatever, right? It's like a very romantic thing. But, as an adult, when you step back and you're looking back at that, you're like, why did we even burn that? Like, what does that even mean? Where did that come from? And to me, that explanation just isn't good enough, right? Like that, like, why has that been meshed into school? Like, nada que ver, like like I just don't get it, right? Maybe I'm missing something. um I don't know. So in Iran, there is a fire jumping festival celebrated by Persian people, Kurdish people, and some other ethnicities. This event takes place on the eve of the last Wednesday before Nowruz, loosely translated as Wednesday light, from the word sur, which means light in Persian, or more possibly, blah, blah, blah. Okay. They take it to refer to either the fire itself or to the ruddiness, meaning good health or ripeness. Um, Also called the Festival of Fire, it is to prelude Nowruz, which is the arrival of spring. Bonfires are lit to keep the sun alive until early morning. So this is also fascinating. It's like there is a fire that is dedicated to the sun. In Iraq, Assyrian Christians light bonfires to celebrate the Feast of the Cross. In addition to the bonfire, every household traditionally hangs a lighted fire in the roof of their house. Now, I know that bonfires can have different meanings in different cultures, but I was just thinking about like the football connection to it, and I just was like, that's weird. Why do we do that? If anyone knows, let me know. But also, every time there's a game or every Sunday, what do we typically do? Or I know, at least as a Hispanic, right, we like barbecue. And that means something too, right? Because in the Old Testament, it was like God wanted offerings of calf, cattle, whatever, and the burning of them was a pleasant aroma to him. And so now it's like we're not in Old Testament anymore, right? We're in New Testament, but the false gods and false idols of the world also ask for burnt offerings. So if we're not being mindful about those offerings not being used to whatever idol we're having, could we be unknowingly offering burnt offerings to a false deity? I don't know. Think about it. How many of y'all pray before you do your barbecue, or you start, a bonfire or a fire pit or whatever? And I'm not saying that every action we take has like some kind of ritualistic nature and needs to be prayed over. Da, da, da. No, that's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is, could we perhaps be more mindful of the rituals we do to be sure that they're not sabotaged by the enemy to mean something else? I don't know. Think about it. But that's what I was thinking about this morning. Um, let's see, what else? What else? In Italy, a straw witch dressed with old clothes is placed on a bonfire and burnt to ash. The witch symbolizes the past, and the direction of the smoke indicates whether the new year is going to be good or bad. The northern Italian La Vecchia, aka the Old Lady, is a version of the Wicker Man bonfire effigy, which is burned once a year as part of town festivals. So, and even over here, right, we have like the Salem witch trials and stuff like that. It's so fascinating to me that in history we have like an association of burning witches and fire, right? And taking the fire to mean something when it's done. In Iceland, bonfires are traditional on New Year's Eve and on the 6th of January, which is the last day of Icelandic Christmas season. In Norway and Denmark, large bonfires are lit on the 23rd of June to celebrate John Sock, or Saint Hansaften, the evening before John the Baptist's birthday. As with many other traditions in Scandinavia, St. Hans is believed to have a pagan origin, the celebration of Midsummer's Eve. And that too, there's always an allusion to midsummer, the equinox, some kind of stage of lunar or celestial bodies, right? And it's like, what are we celebrating truly when we engage in something like this. And a lot of people have their own opinions on, what they want to indulge in as a Christian or not, and that's totally fine. But lately, these things just seem so different to me, and I don't know if it's like the gift of the Holy Spirit or getting more confrontations with it or what. But it's really important that we are mindful of what kind of celebrations we're a part of and we know their true origins. Because even when I asked my peers, like, hey, why do we light bonfires anyway, for like homecoming or for this or for that, no one could give me an answer. And it's like, if we're not being mindful about the things that we're indulging in, like, what are we doing? Like, we're just rolling with the punches because it's what we do. Like, why? I don't know. Let's see. In the United Kingdom and some Commonwealth countries, bonfires are lit on Guy Fawkes Night, a yearly celebration held on the evening of the 5th of November to mark the failure of the Gunpowder Plot on the 5th of November 1605, in which a number of Catholic conspirators, including Guy Fawkes, attempted to destroy the House of Lords in London. Historically in England, sometime before the 1400s, fires were lit around midsummer as a wake in the vigil for St. John the Baptist. Folks would wake up in the evening and make three manners of fire: one with only clean bones, bonies, and no wood, called a bone fire, and one with clean wood and no bones, called a wake fire, and the third with bones and wood, called St. Loney's fire. Apparently, the original wake fell into lechery and gluttony, so the church deemed it instead as a fast. And that, I don't understand that. Like, what does that even mean? Like, that could be used in place of a fast? Like, I don't know. Unless it's written in the New Testament by God himself, I think it's up for debate. Bonfires are used on farms, in large gardens, and allotments to dispose of waste plant material that is not readily composted. This includes woody material, pernicious weeds, disease material, and material treated with persistent pesticides and herbicides. Such bonfires might be quite small, but are often designed to burn slowly for several days so that wet and green material may be reduced to ash by frequently turning the unburnt material into the center. Such bonfires can also deal with turf and earthy material. The ash from garden bonfires is a useful source of potash and may be beneficial in improving the soil structure of some soils, although such fires must be managed with safety in mind. Garden and farm bonfires are frequently smoky and can cause a local nuisance if poorly managed or lit in unsuitable weather conditions. So this is also a list of, like, let's click on this: fire ritual. Fire worship. Worship or deification of fire is known from various religions. Fire has been an important part of human culture since the lower Paleolithic. Religious or animist notions connected to the fire are assumed to reach back to such early pre-human times. See, this is like very interesting. Like, I don't know. This is just the morning musing. Consider, do you pray before you start lighting fires? What do you think about football? Why is there a bonfire associated with it? Um, Tell me more about your thoughts or meditations. Make it a great day or not. The choice is always yours.